Welcome to our playground.
Recess the podcast is an eclectic show of organic discussion, imagination, deep conversations, interviews, creativity, intuition, high vibrations, and fun.
Be informed, energized, inspired, and entertained with me, Jamie.
And me, Brian. Ready or not, here we come.
Because we all need to take a break. Hey, Brian, how are you today?
I'm really good, Jamie. I'm ready to have some fun.
Me too. Me too. Excited to play again with you. And we have a lovely guest, yeah?
Yes, I will do the brief introduction.
Please.
Declan Oceguera, I tried to roll my R's there. The Visionary Voyager is a friend and the producer and host of his upcoming radio and video podcast, TV talk show Live, where he speaks with visionaries about how they've amplified their visibility by using video and have created a global citizen lifestyle. He loves to bring conscious travelers together for events designed to elevate self-awareness while creating indelible memories. Welcome, Declan.
Wow, that sounds good.
Well, hey,
I'm gonna toss the ball to you. Go.
Yeah.
We're playing.
Yeah. Thanks for being with us, because I know it's 10 p.m. your time in Portugal.
Yeah, it's early.
Yes, you're a international man of mystery. That
I
it's
am.
the weekend too.
It's Friday night, so anything goes.
It's time for revelry. That was a big word for me.
That word, yes.
That's as much as you're gonna get on my dancing.
I know. Yeah, $2 word for Brian. We have a lot to talk about. So
let's go.
I know a lot of folks dream about moving to another country, but you actually made it happen a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
What prompted you to leave Southern California and move to Portugal and start a new life there?
Okay, we'll start with the right. We'll start with the big question.
And all that. Yeah, whatever.
Jump right in. Okay.
Boom.
Well, I mean, to be honest, this was meant to be a 5-week European vacation.
Wow.
And Porto was just the first stop. I bought a one-way ticket just because I wasn't sure which country I'd come back to San Diego from. So it wasn't conscious. There were a lot of things that happened up subconsciously, apparently. But my mind was just, I'm getting to Europe and let me see what this Porto thing is about. Get the hell out of there, because I expected to be like totally bored to tears here. And then go have fun in Barcelona or Ibiza and Sevilla and Rome, whatever, right? But it was not about coming to Portugal. It was just the first stop. So I came on my birthday too. It was September 4th of last year. And I arrived the next day. I walk out into the main, the city center here. And I just had this inside out, visceral, the most intuitive explosion experience I've ever had. And I teach these things, right? So like, it was like, what? And basically what I was hearing is, ha, sucker, we got you back. You live here now. You're living here now. And I was just, what? And because I know my intuition really well, and it was just off the charts absurd, right? I said, okay, fine.
Go.
Yeah. And I was just in a position in my life in that moment where I could say, okay, fine, I'll stay. And there were things to take care of back home, like an apartment. I had a car, an apartment, a dog, stuff, right? My family. But I just went with the flow. And it really has to do with manifestation and what I had been working on prior to coming, about creating a global citizen lifestyle and having a life of adventure and flow and luxury. And these were the affirmations, I guess, that I was putting out, right? Programming my subconscious mind, actually, right? Because you are the universe. There's no universe out there giving you stuff. You are the creator of your reality. So I was doing this intense transformation, creation work. And then I come here and it was like, well, here you go. You've been saying this is who you are. Are you sure?
Shall receive.
That's the short version, but that's how I came to stay here, and I've not left. I'm now an immigrant here. residency is due anytime, and I have an entire new life here. That was just like, whoa.
I
So
love that. You know what? I can relate too, because when I moved from the East Coast to the West Coast, my very first place that I landed when I was looking at where's home was Lake Tahoe, the most beautiful lake in the world, in my opinion. And like you, I had this visceral, like I literally just sobbed. And it was it was tears of joy. It was like, welcome
yeah,
home, you know,
yeah,
and I haven't left.
exactly. Oh,
So
that's where you are now.
I am, and I
Yeah.
love it.
Okay. So you know the feeling. Yeah. And I've done lots of moves. You know, I'm from LA. I first moved to San Francisco, and then Chicago, and then New York City. I was in New York for 18 years, and then to San Diego, um, and now Portugal, and who knows where next. But this
Love
is
it.
it's all most of those moves, whether I was fully aware of it or not, were driven by some kind of intuition. And the later moves definitely were not like, I think this is San Diego was not an idea. I thought that I didn't want to move to San Diego. I didn't want to leave New York. I was there for 18 years. It's like I created a whole life, like a whole identity there as a community leader, right? And a completely different life, completely different quantum lifetime. Nothing like what
part
my
of New
life
York
is now.
Yeah, what part of New York were you in?
Manhattan.
Yeah.
And I lived between Manhattan and Brooklyn, Brooklyn Heights, Williamsburg, Manhattan. Yeah.
What I mean, I know there's a lot of steps, you don't have to go into everything, but what basically was the process of you getting there? And I know initially you were in an Airbnb, I think, or something like that for a little while,
Yeah.
something of the sort. And then once you realized that, hey, I think I'm gonna stay here, what kind of paperwork, red tape did you have to kind of start to implement to become a potential resident?
Yeah.
I know it was a lot of work.
That's well, it's interesting. Portugal's a country, unlike the United States or many other countries for that matter, where it's fairly easy to come here and decide you want to live here. Most Americans or people from the United States, I have to keep retraining my language because South America, Central America, North America are all Americans. And when you're not in the United States, you are reminded of that promptly. So as someone from the United States, most people get a visa, a travel visa, right? And there's a whole process for that, which is a royal pain in the butt. And but that's all I knew. But I did know also about a route which is fairly uncommon from people from the US to even pursue, and it's called manifestation of interest.
Of course.
And of course it's built into, it's like what I teach, right? It's like that's what I work on with people, and part of my business is creating the life of your reality, right? So manifesting. So this process, you have to have a bunch of things in place. I'll name some of those in a second, but it's basically a very short 2-page document, and you submit it to the government and say, hey, I'm staying here, and here's the stuff I have in order. And then you just wait until the immigration department grants you an interview, and then they say, hey, here's your residency card. And so that's unheard of. It would be like, imagine this in the United States. Someone just comes and fills out a 2-page document and says, hey, this absolutely is not going to happen, right? Especially in San Diego. We know the whole story about the border and all that. So manifestation of interest is widely used by many other countries, especially Brazil. Many Brazilians come here through this process because they can, and it's actually easier for them because Portuguese speaking countries, there's like a reciprocity thing. But so I had to right away, like within the first 10 days of being here, I got the first layer of identification, which is sort of like a social security number, which anybody can get. You just apply for it. You pay $50 and you get it. And I got it. So I was like, okay, this is getting real. And then the other things, which were much harder to get in the grand scheme of things, went fairly smooth for me. And when I look backwards at like how quickly it all happened, getting a bank account here, for if you're not a EU resident, let alone a Portuguese resident. That's a whole fun process, because you need an address. And if you don't have a legal address, not an Airbnb address, then it's like the chicken and the egg, right? Like if you have an address, we can give you an account. But to get an address, you have to have a bank account. It's like all this stuff. So the short version of it is literally like the exact people that I needed to show up for me, to help me through the process, showed up for me. And like this apartment that I'm in is a penthouse, beautiful apartment with these ridiculous views that you can't see through these windows right now, but in the most amazing spot in Porto, right, the Douro River is right outside my window here, and it's like a fairy tale. And it all happened through me saying, here's what I want. I don't know how it's going to happen. That's not my job, right? That's the universe's job. My job is to know what I want and to take action towards it, and then let it all fall into place. And everything has, and will continue to.
That's awesome. I'm curious, what is the biggest change inside of you since you've been in Portugal?
That's a great question.
That's what we're here for.
You know, whew. I think as someone who's been on, you know, a spiritual path, you know, whatever, you know, done all the things, you name it, I've probably studied it or have a certification or whatever, you know, modalities, practices, which has been such an important part of my life, you know, for decades at this point, right? And then going about a year and a half ago at this point, taking that all to another level, which has really nothing to do with spirituality. It's science. It's the way the brain is wired, and quantum physics, right? Timelines, right? It's not spirituality at all, because if you believe you're the creator of your reality, then there's no one out there doing anything for you. There's no asking the universe for something and hoping it pops in, because you are the freaking universe, right? It's a huge shift to take in. And while I knew these concepts and talked about these concepts, I hadn't fully embodied that. And in coming on this trip and seeing how things started to unfold, in order to really be able to stay here, I had to make a choice. I got to make a choice. Like, am I really the creator of my reality? Yes or no? You either are or you're not. Either way is fine. They're just different outcomes in your life, right? In different places of empowerment or disempowerment, however you want to view it. But I shifted into, all right, I don't know if you guys, I have a lot of cuss words that want to come out of my mouth.
Please
right now.
go ahead. I curse all the time.
All right. So
I'm more flowery than Brian is.
It was kind of like, all right, motherfuckers, I'm doing this. I have nothing to lose. There's nothing to lose. I'm just going out on a limb, and I'm taking ownership of what I believe. And then watching that like become deeper and deeper ingrained, and seeing how it works and how quickly things, you know, manifestation is instant. The minute you say, by the time you've even consciously thought of the thing you think you want, it's already been thought and it's already done. And then we get in the way of it, right? So the minute you think, I want X, I want this, it is done, because you're already worthy of it. There's no like, did I say the right prayer? Have I chanted the right mantra? Are my chakras opened and aligned? You know, is Mercury? None of that is necessary, because that's not how it works. You are the creator of your reality. So you said it, therefore it is. And then you take movement in that direction, but really you let it happen and get out of the way. And so in practicing that and allowing it to happen has been the biggest shift, because the more I, like the question you asked about things I had to get in order, trying to find a place to live became really important, because I needed that address. And I say it with the cuss words, I needed the fucking address. And it was so hard to find the place to live for so many reasons. And the more I tried, the more nothing worked out. And then finally I remembered, oh, right, I don't have to keep trying so hard. I already know the kind of place I want to live in. I've already placed the order, so to speak, right? I know it already exists. I don't know where it exists.
To be there.
Yeah. So it has to be done. And the timelines are all known. Like there's a, it needed to happen in a certain timeline, so to speak. Even that's arguable. But in this 3D reality, there were timelines of how things needed to go, right? So that I was not overstaying my travel visa. So anyways, when I got out of the way is when the real estate agent who magically happened to have this apartment, whose office I just happened to walk into, in a neighborhood I never had walked into yet, like everything just unfolded in like overnight. I suddenly have this amazing place to live. And the funny thing is, the last Airbnb I stayed in is literally 80 steps away on the street here. And we're up on a hill. It's hard to tell. And I'm on the 9th floor. So literally from my last Airbnb, I looked up at this very apartment many times walking up to the corner, having no idea that what I wanted was literally, right above me. And that's how it always is. Whatever we want, whatever we've asked for, it's always right here, but can we see it? Are we in the way? So
I love that. I have some ideas, and I know Jamie does too, and we all kind of think alike. Just for our audience, throw a few things out that might hold somebody back in that regard, just so they can kind of become aware of, some ways that we get in our own way from manifesting.
Yeah, I think one of the most common things is trying to figure it out, trying to what you want, but then you think that it's your job to figure out all of the steps. How's it going to happen? And that's all going to only be in the logical mind, right? But so much of these things happen in the most illogical way possible. Like you think, so if you said like, well, I want to make an extra $5,000 a month, your mind's immediately going to go to, or if you can use me.
Yeah. Right.
Well, it's going to go to, I do this, I sell this service. And if I get, one client to do this package, or if I come up with some new product and I sell 20 of those at this, we come up with we back out of the 5,000, here's the ways. Those are ways, those are quantum possibilities, but there are infinite possibilities of how it could happen, including a unicorn could fly over and shit $5,000 on your head. You could literally wake up and your bank account has $5,000 more in it because it just does. And you don't have to know how that happened. You could have someone refer someone to you that you didn't know was going to happen. And they happen to want what you have. And they're like, hey, I need to spend $5,000. I mean, so much of what has happened for me here has been like that. Like there's no way I could have thought about how it actually worked out. And so people get in their own way they got to know. The other way is literally waiting for it to show up. Like, well, I asked for it, so when's it going to come? When you stop waiting for it to come.
Stopwatch, right? Hey, come on now, universe.
Well, one of the things you're pointing to, Declan, is something I often talk with my clients about, is that you can set your intention and your desire, and there's great benefits to desire and gratitude. I said, but when you get attached to the outcome, you collapse the field of possibilities.
Yes.
So
what she said.
Letting go of the attachment to the outcome, going, I know it's already out there. How it shows up, like you're describing, who knows?
None of my business.
But that's the fun part. And if we can stay playful and curious about it,
yes,
that's where we start to open the aperture.
Ooh, the aperture. Speaking of, before I forget, this is why I like to blow bubbles.
I love it.
It's a party.
I have bottles of these everywhere, especially when I moved in here. These are my frozen bubbles. Let it go. So it is about that. And really, at the end of the day, our only job is to have fun. That for a lot of people is really hard, especially if they're like goal-oriented, masculine energy.
Think their way out of a situation. Yeah.
Take life too seriously.
Well, it's when we're in that energy of doing what makes us feel good, because it's really all boils down to feelings, right? So manifestation isn't just like, well, I said it or I wrote it. Those are important, right? But a tool I use a lot around in visualization is not just can I see it, and not everyone is able to visually see a thing, right? But we all can feel. And it's the feeling part that's, to me, the most important. So when I know I want something, I imagine myself already having it, not when I get it.
Mhm.
It's already done. And what does that feel like? And if I can't come up with that immediately, I look to something else that's already happened, right? And I borrow those feelings and apply it to the new thing that I want and go into the embodiment of that. And if I'm in that feeling space, that good feeling space, right? Then I'm on the path of most allowance, right? Instead of like, how's it going to happen? You know, we're running out of time, but but I asked for it 10 days ago. Where is it? This doesn't work. I'm not worthy. All
Well,
that stuff happens.
No, yes, and I was going to mention that. What do you tell people? Because I think one of the other hangups is that we don't feel worthy to receive what we're asking for. How do you kind of try to maybe guide folks through that one? Because that's a big one. I know I've struggled with my own self-acceptance through the years.
Okay. It's really simple. You were born worthy. You do not have to do anything to earn it, because, and this is, you can only really embody this if you do believe you're the creator of your reality, which is a very bold thing to take on, right? I highly recommend it, though. If I'm the creator of my reality, then how the fuck can I not be worthy? I don't have to earn it. There's no lessons to learn. I'm the creator. And when I'm in that, then there's no worthiness issue. I said so, so therefore it is. And when you really like take that on and own it like a badass, right? Then life, literally, your universe, your reality must bend its knee to you. It is already doing it, though. So if we walk around saying, well, I'm not worthy and I need to take this course because it's going to help me be more worthy, or I need to read these 5 books, or I'll never be worthy because when I was 7, this happened. And then when I was 22, that happened. And I've done so much healing work about, and I did ayahuasca, and my chakra is not in alignment, but one day maybe, right? And I've said all these things.
Stole that candy bar, yeah.
Right. If that's what you believe, then that's what you get, because you're the creator of your reality. So the question is, are you consciously creating or unconsciously? And mostly people are unconsciously. They don't realize that they are already experts at reality creation. They just haven't thought about it this way. And so we all get exactly what we're thinking about, which is another one that can be hard to swallow. Because whatever you see out here in this template of yours is a direct reflection of what has been going on inside, right? So like hermetic principles, as within, so without, right? So it's just all a translation from the subconscious mind showing you, well, you said this, you thought this, so here it is. And it's a faithful servant, your mind. So whatever you say, it's going to do, because it's here to serve you. It doesn't have right, wrong, good, bad sensibilities. It's just reflecting what we're doing in here.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And what I love about this whole conversation and you and what you're pointing to is that when we're looking at the manifestation piece, the gratitude adds another layer. So the feelings and the gratitude. And so my mantra is, a lot of people do a gratitude morning time, listing what they're grateful. Mine is, I list the things that haven't even happened yet as grateful.
Yes.
They're already here. I give great thanks for
Awesome.
whatever is here, not just I give great thanks for my water,
Yeah.
whatever. So that's another
the gratitude in advance. Yeah.
Yeah. Because now I'm looking around my world and I'm seeing everything that is exactly what I'm creating. One of the methods that I like to, or a game I like to play, is spend 24 hours where my first answer to everything is thank you. So then I'm trusting that everything in my life, even the guy flipping me off in the car because I cut him off or whatever, it's like, thank you, or somebody's upset with me, thank you, because I have created this opportunity to learn, to deepen, to whatever.
Yeah, everyone, here's a really fun one. You just basically said it. I'll say it a different way. All the people that show up in your world, including the guy who cut you off, you created them. You are the creator of your script. And so all those characters that you think are randomly there have nothing to do with you. they are part of the script that you wrote, or the book, the manuscript, because we were talking about authors, right? So when you realize that, then there's all these fun tools like revision, right? So as things start to show up that now that you're being conscious about it, and you're like, all right, well, it is what it is. It's allowed to be, but in my done deal reality, that's not a match. And so I can go in and revise what happened and create the version that I do want, that is the match, because now I'm being conscious about it, right? And everything that we're seeing now physically is residue from our past thoughts. So there's sort of this transition period. Sometimes, well, it always is happening instantly, but we're not always seeing it instantly. And also, if everything happened like immediately, visibly for us, we would be very overwhelmed. We couldn't take in everything. But we can play with this tool called revision, and fine tune and stay in the character, the version of yourself that has that particular outcome, that life.
That's awesome. We're almost out of time, but I want to ask you.
We'll do this again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
How
There's so much to say.
has your work changed since you've been there? I know you've expanded what you do a little bit.
So thank you for asking that, because before I came here, I was already doing, transformation coaching, and I had a whole program teaching people how to be powerful and confident on camera, doing really what you guys are doing, having your own, I call it a talk show, video podcast, different ways of talking about this. That's what I was doing when I came here. And then this whole vision for the Visionary Voyager plopped into that Airbnb 80 steps away, like one day. And then after meditation, like this whole like very detailed plan came in, and it's a complete reflection of the life I've created. It's all about creating a community, opportunities, events, retreats. I have a retreat coming up in October for conscious travelers, people who want to, or already are, digital nomads, remote workers, expats, want to have a global citizen lifestyle, but they are on their path of self-awareness. And so everything I'm doing now is geared towards helping people create that, take the bold step, right? I know one of my clients now knows that where she's working and what she's doing, even though she makes good money, is not it does not give her any joy. And so she's making some huge shifts about where she'll be located in the world and what she really wants to do. And so working with people who want to make these big shifts, and it could be state to state, country to country,
job to job.
Say it again.
Job to job.
Job to job. Yeah. It's really doing what the hell that you're here to do, because it's what will bring you joy. But maybe you have not allowed yourself to have that because of all the programming you have about how you think you're supposed to go about all of it. So the Visionary Voyager is about conscious travel. It's about ecstatic dance. It's about breath work. It's about transformation. It's about having a life of adventure, travel, fun,
our own way, right?
Yeah. So it's an interesting blend of all of. It's basically me. it's my life.
Well, that's the testament of a true master, because you can't teach something you haven't experienced and be taken seriously.
Exactly.
Thank you, buddy. Man, this is a great chat. I appreciate it. And folks can find where to reach you and all your information in our show notes.
Great.
Do you have anything to add?
I'm just so grateful. It's so wonderful to sit with a like-hearted individual like yourself and to play with us. Thank you so much for just opening our aperture even wider, Declan. Thank you.
I love that. The retreat we're doing is actually about photography and Porto being the muse, blending in consciousness and awakening your inner creative. So it is about apertures.
Nice. I love it.
So thank you for this opportunity.
Come back and play with us any day.
Yep.
Yes, I have lots more bubbles to blow, so we will.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Okay.
All right, you guys.
Ciao.
Take care.
Thanks for joining Jamie and Brian on Recess, the podcast, the twice-weekly show of eclectic, inspired, and entertaining discussion. Be sure to subscribe as well as share with your friends and spread the good news. It's always appreciated. If you'd like to learn more about Jamie's intuitive coaching services and creative projects, please go to jamiedawn.com. And if you'd like to learn more about Brian and his creative spark world and books, please go to gbrianbenson.com.